Ladies and gentlemen, after a week of no UFC, we are finally back. We have UFC Fight Night, Nasruddin Imavov versus Borralho, which is taking place on September the 6th, 2025 in Paris, France, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We actually have a pretty decent card. 14 bouts. There are a couple of UFC debutants on the card. There's a couple good fighters. There's a Cage Warriors champion, OKTAGON champion. There's a couple good fighters. We're going to take a look at the entire card, starting off with the early prelims and ending with the main event. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. I'll make sure to get the best bets done for you guys for tomorrow. That should be out by 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, which is Friday the 5th. All right, let's get right into it. Starting off, let's just get this open. Bang! Starting off with the early prelim opener, which is Shawana Bannon versus Sam Hughes. I'm going to go with the side of Sam Hughes. I think when it comes down to a dogfight, Sam Hughes really can make it one. I think Shawana Bannon is a little bit over her depth here. She did have a good fight against Pooja Tomar. A split decision over Alice Ardelaine, which almost she got robbed with. Bruna Brazil loss, which is a little bit rough to see based on her striking. That was just pitiful there. Shawana Bannon is a really, really good karate fighter. She did have a bit of a problem with Pooja Tomar in the striking. She got completely dropped and put out, and Pooja, instead of letting her stand back up, followed her to the ground, which allowed Bannon to secure an armbar and ended up winning the fight that way. I think the tag of plus 240 is proper. I think Sam Hughes here is going to go on the Sam page. I think she can get a finish over Shawana Bannon in this fight. I think if she just continues to pressure and continues to force Bannon back, I think she can eventually get the takedown and end up with a crucifix or some type of position with mount and end up stopping her with punches. I think Bannon's a little bit too tentative when it comes to grappling and such. She doesn't mix up as much as she should. She's really just a primary karate striker, and I really don't see her getting through Sam Hughes here. I'm going to go with Sam Hughes, especially with the fact that she's kind of bigger. Honestly, her frame seems a little bit larger. We're going to go with the stronger girl in Sam Hughes. We're going to go next on the prelims, Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Andreas Gustafsson. We're going to go with Andreas Gustafsson to win via knockout or decision. I think Rinat Fakhretdinov has been gifted too many wins inside of his UFC tenure. I think the fight against Carlos Leal was a clear robbery. I think the fight against Nicholas Dalby was a robbery in my opinion. I think the fight against Kevin Lee was a gift from God, and I think Brian Battle losing to him was just the fact that Brian Battle can't make weight. This dude always looks like shit, and he was probably sick at 170, not being able to make it. I think Andreas Gustafsson looked way too good against Chaos Williams, looked way too good against Pat Pillock in my opinion, and I think the fact that this guy doesn't look at any tape, he kind of just mauls through people. I think this is the type of guy that needs to fight Rinat Fakhretdinov. You need to have a guy that's not afraid to get into some power situations. A lot of the old videos of Rinat Fakhretdinov fighting is just fucking absolute butcher KOs inside of the first round, and I can understand why a lot of guys get tentative when they fight him, but that's not how you're supposed to fight it. Fight it like Carlos Leal, put pressure on, leave this guy with no gas left in the tank, and seeing as we're not fighting in a place where I think they can rob him, this isn't in, you know, Abu Dhabi or something, I think this is a really, really good situation for Andreas Gustafsson to get a win. I think Rinat Fakhretdinov not being in Abu Dhabi and not being in the UAE, this is a huge, huge opportunity to finally get a loss on his record inside the UFC. Because there's no way that this guy should be undefeated inside the UFC. This is some pitiful shit, and I can't believe that he still hasn't lost. Dalby, I thought, beat him. Again, I thought very clearly Carlos Leal 129-28. It is what it is, but I'm going to go with Andreas Gustafsson to knock him out or win by decision against a very overrated Fakhretdinov. We're going to go on next on the prelims, Brad Tavares versus Robert Brzezik. I didn't even realize this fight was on the card, but we're going to go with Brad Tavares. I think Robert Brzezik is kind of in over his head. He should not have been gifted a fucking UFC tenure based on his performance in the Octagon. I think it's kind of pitiful that the fact that he's fighting kind of shitbags and he's being gifted into the UFC like this. Brad Tavares is still decent. He still packs a massive punch. Majority of his wins come by decision, but he does have some really good boxing. He does have the ability to kind of mix it up. If I'm being 100% honest, I would not be betting this fight. I would be betting Robert Brzezik probably plus 3.5. I would stay away from the fact that Brad Tavares should not be a minus 250 favorite. Robert Brzezik did look kind of bad against Ihor Potieria, and I can understand why the tag is coming with this, but he's taken a year and a half off. He's taken a lot of time to improve, and I think the UFC jitters do get to everyone. I think Brad Tavares might have a bit of a problem on the feet with Robert Brzezik continuously forcing pressure, a guy who loves to get big knockouts, a guy who loves to just absolutely butcher guys. and he's walking Brad Tavares down, I can see Brad getting clipped, and I can see Brad getting knocked out. Gregory Robocop Rodriguez was able to do it. If Bruno Silva was able to knock out Brad Tavares 2 years ago, gives me a little bit of worry. I think more likely than not, Brad Tavares wins. I think if you were flipping a coin, I think more than 50% of the time Brad Tavares wins this fight. I think Robert Brzezik is good enough to win it. I would probably say over 1.5 rounds, if I'm being honest. That's probably your best bet. I would not go over 2.5. I can see Brad Tavares getting clipped late, and I can see him getting clipped early. I think over 1.5 is probably the best. I'm a little bit worried for Tavares here, but I think he can get it done. I think against Brzezik, you're losing an inch, but you're at extreme couture. You're fighting big guys all the time. You're fighting power punchers all the time inside, sparring and stuff. Granted, they're not going full clip on you. I don't know. Hopefully Brzezik doesn't clip him. I guess we'll see. We're going to go on next on the prelims. We have Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. We're going to go with Sam Patterson, the future. I think the one loss that Sam Patterson had in his UFC tenure against Yanil Ashmouz was a bit of a shitty display of who he is as a fighter. He was undefeated as an amateur. Was undefeated for a while. Had an unbeaten streak for a while until Yanil Ashmouz put his ass out inside the first round. That was a bad loss. That was more of getting clipped. That was not, based on his skill level. I don't think that was based on a style matchup or anything. I think that was just a mistake based on Sam Patterson's previous past, and I guess his future after that. Submitted Lanius, the Canadian, submitted the Irishman Crosby, was able to knock out Danny Borralho in the first round, left hand to God, with some absolutely torturous fucking punishment on the feet. And that gives me a lot of confidence against Trey Waters, because Trey Waters doesn't really deal with a lot of pressure that well. Gabriel Bonfim was able to choke him out. Billy Ray Goff couldn't really put a whole lot of pressure together, being that he's not big enough. Like, Billy Ray Goff is 5'10", fighting 6'5". Now you have Sam Patterson, who's 6'3". He's able to compete with that frame. He's not at a range disadvantage. He's at a range advantage. He has an inch over Trey Waters, and that is giving me fucking fireworks in my head to fire all of my money on Sam Patterson this week. He will be the lock of the week, more likely than not. I think Trey Waters is good, but losing to Gabriel Bonfim like that with a Von Flue choke and only getting into the UFC to fight fucking Josh Quinlan and Billy Ray Goff, these are red flags. Billy Ray Goff just called out Mickey Gall. I'm not too worried about a Billy Ray Goff victory meaning anything to his career at this point. I think Billy Ray Goff should be fighting better guys. I think he should be making a better name for himself. Calling out shitty Mickey Gall is such a terrible call. Josh Quinlan, an absolute fucking bum. Not exactly the best look on your record. I think Trey Waters is in it over his head here. I think Sam Patterson is truly the future at 170. I think he has all of the marks to be a UFC champion eventually in his career. Granted, he's 29. I think by 34, he'll be a UFC champ at least once. He's got a lot of potential. I'm going to go with Sam Patterson to win via submission or knockout against Trey Waters. I think he gets a finish. I think Trey Waters is just not in a good spot here. I think he's just got to wilt when it comes late in the fight. He's fighting a guy with the same fucking frame. That's a problem for Trey Waters, if I'm being honest. Next on the prelims, Howie Fernandez versus Harry Hardwick. We're going to go with... Listen, Howie Fernandez is low-key shit. I'm not going to lie. He's very aggressive, though. He's got a lot of first-round knockouts. Did lose a decision against a decent grappler and clinch worker in Luan Sardonnay. Sardonnay, is that his name? I don't know. I don't really care. Harry Hardwick is good. I really, really like him. I think he's, he fights very, very often inside Cage Warriors. He fought 3 times in a year, and I think that's good for him. I think him getting into that type of rhythm is solid for his career. Granted, he's not fighting the best of guys. He's not fighting anyone that, eventually gets into the UFC or anything. He's just kind of fighting, I guess Weston Wilson, but Weston Wilson's fucking shit. He should not be in the UFC whatsoever. I honestly think Howie Fernandez is going to win. I think UFC jitters are a real thing. I think Fernandez, when it comes down to it, is just going to be able to just put off more output than Hardwick. I think Hardwick is going to be a little bit starstruck in Paris. I think the fact that he doesn't really fight in these big cards, he's the champ, but where's he fighting? He's just fighting at the O2. I guess that's pretty big. The O2 is pretty fucking big. Oh fuck, man. I don't know. This is a really hard fight. I would prefer to pick over 2.5 rounds probably. Both of these guys are good punchers. Both of these guys are going to be able to respect each other's power. I think Cowie Fernandez and the kickboxing is a fucking problem. I think I'm just going to pick Cowie Fernandez. I'm just going to pick it in my head. Harry Hardwick's going to have a bit of a problem with that body work. I think his arms are going to get fucking chewed out from Cowie Fernandez in those body shots. I think people underestimate how much those leg kicks and those body kicks fucking hurt, man. Like, those body kicks, even if you block them, you're smashing your shin into those guys' arms. You're busting up their arm, bro. Your forearm hurts so much after just, like, 3 of those. I think people overestimate it, or underestimate it, and I think Harry Hardwick's going to be in for a little bit of an issue here. He is also moving up to 155. He last weighed in at 144 for Cage Warriors, and he's been... Going up in weight, man, is not a good thing, especially when you're fighting guys who fight bigger guys than you're fighting at Cage Warriors. Not good. I'm going to go with Cowie Fernandez to win by knockout or decision. I realistically think this is going to go to decision, but I think Harry Hardwick can get smashed in the side of his arms, and I think eventually if he just gets... I really think Fernandez can fucking end it with some leg kicks, if I'm being honest, but I think Hardwick's arm's going to give out eventually. He's going to end up against the cage, and Cowie Fernandez is going to end up dropping him. But I'm going to go over 1.5 rounds, or you pick Cowie Fernandez to win by decision or knockout. Next on the prelims, we have Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija, or Wood Delija. I don't give a shit. Marcin Tybura is going to win this fight. Ante is laughable at best. I mean, against Renan Ferreira, he looked like he was on roids, if I'm being honest. He looked way too fucking explosive. Lost to Moldavsky, and Moldavsky beat the shit out of him. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if Moldavsky hit him with a nice body kick, or I don't know if he gave up based on what his corner said. I don't know if his corner told him to give up. I really don't know, but he literally gave up after whatever shot Moldavsky gave him. He looked over. He made eye contact with his corner while getting punched, while Moldavsky was still walking him down, and Ante just kind of sat there and just fucking got wilted. Like, he just ended up getting knocked out. Wasn't in the promotion anymore. Went to FNC. Fought Jorgen De Castro, who's an absolute fucking bum, who should not be inside any organization whatsoever. This dude is absolutely horrendous, and gets gifted a fucking UFC spot against a number 10 heavyweight in the world, Marcin Tybura, and you're getting Tybura at a -105 price. You're getting Tybura at an underdog price against a guy that just lost to Moldavsky, who would lose inside the UFC. Give me Marcin Tybura to win via whatever. Go with money line if that's what you want. He is 39 years of age, but I don't give a shit. Ante looks like garbage. His nickname is the Walking Trouble, and he is no walking trouble. He looks absolutely terrible. He's ranked number 50 heavyweight in the world. There probably is only fucking 50 heavyweights in the world, and Ante's the 50th. I'm going to go with Marcin Tybura to just absolutely roll over him, and it's not even close. We're going to go next on the prelims, Umar Sy versus Brandon Ribeiro. We're going to go with this fight not to go distance. I think Brandon Ribeiro is one of the guys that is in a perfect position to get a submission victory over Umar Sy. I think he's a bit overestimated when it comes down to his skill level. I think the fact that he's a plus 310 underdog, and he's already beaten Nurgaze to take his double or his zero, beat Kyle Machado, who was supposed to be this big prospect inside the UFC, who was cutting weight and everything, was trying to get down in weight. He went all the way down to 205 from heavyweight and just still looked like absolute fucking dog shit. Was able to beat him. Lost a majority decision to Gadzhi Sulov. Mingyang Zhang knocked him out. Looking back, not good. Was able to knock out Bruno Lopez 2 years ago, which was a fantastic knockout. Azamat Mirzakhanov, who knocks out everyone, knocked him out, which is fair. And now he's taking on Umar Sy, who just looked like shit against Alonzo Menafield. That is a problem. That is giving me big issues. A guy who lost to Alonzo Menafield, who's a finisher, and he lost at Menafield, that's fucking red flags all throughout the world. And I think Ribeiro is a guy that is perfect to just absolutely chin the shit out of his side. He's a guy who loves to get in the pocket. He's a guy who has big frame, and he's not afraid to get into these wild situations where these guys are just thrown. Again, I would not suggest you take Ribeiro on parlays. I would suggest you take it by itself. I would suggest that you take the fight not to go distance, because I don't see this fight getting that far. I think if Ribeiro gets late, he's going to end up trying to throw everything at Sy, and Sy's going to end up taking him down and submitting him. Or you have Ribeiro who's just going to end up chipping him or submitting him himself with a Kimura or something. Umar Sy just gets a little bit too fucking cocky inside that octagon. He's going to be looking to take back his aura. he just lost. He just got his first loss on his record. He's going to hate losing. He doesn't want to lose again. He's going to want to try and just absolutely put Ribeiro out. He might come out here with a fucking newfound, you know, look and torch Ribeiro. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think Ribeiro has a chance, but I guess we'll see. I'm going to go with Umar Sy and Brennison Ribeiro not to go the distance. And I would probably lean on the side of Umar Sy again, but Ribeiro, again, it's not like the odds say. I would not say minus 400 is proper on Umar Sy. He was just a bigger fucking underdog. Like, he was just a bigger favorite against Alonzo Menifee and lost. Like, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's fine. We move on. The featured prelim of the evening. I don't know how this is a feature, but I guess it's because it's France. Whatever. This is kind of dog shit. William Gomis versus Robert Rashula. I didn't even know this fight was happening, if I'm being 100% honest with you guys. I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even see this fight on the card when I was looking at it. And I'm going to go with the fact that if he's losing to a soccer body kick, this dude fucking gives up. This dude has no fucking gas tank. This dude's losing, having 5th round knockouts against guys who are 23-7, who have never fought high-level contenders in their life. I'll bet you money these are not high-level contenders. 18-10. 45-10. Holy shit, 45-10? What the fuck are you? You have 2 fights scheduled for the same fucking card? What do you mean, brother? Hello? You have 2 fights? Is this real life? This guy has 2 fights on the same card? Holy fuck, maybe he is fighting crazy fucking people. What the fuck am I looking at here? Holy shit. Is this real life? Oh my god. Okay, I'm going to take it back. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm still going to pick fucking Gomis, but like, hold on. What? What happened to this guy? Did he like move organizations? No, he changed weight classes. He was at 144. Oh, still the same fucking thing. What am I missing here? Rashula. Oh, he lost to Adrian. Oh my god, he was out for a year and a half. That's why. Okay, sorry. We fucking took way too long on that. William Gomis, Jaguar versus Robert Rashula. We're going to go with William Gomis. The UFC fighter, Robert Rashula, is going to get UFC jitters, and he's going to fall apart inside the octagon. Again, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but I'm going to go with the side of the fact that majority of the people that I see walk into the UFC octagon get UFC jitters. Aaron Pico just got knocked out by Lerone Murphy after having a fantastic first half of the round. He was literally meant to torch the fuck out of Murphy, but he didn't. You have Patricio Pitbull, looked like shit. You have fucking, who's that other dude? Fucking Kaya Sakura, looks like a bum. William Gomis should have an easy time here. Beat up Jordan Brito, beat up Giannis Gomori, and he's just kind of in a good spot. Francis Marshall, who's really, really fucking tough, the fireman over there. And William Gomis is going to be able to walk over Robert Rashula, I think, with ease. I think the point of it is that William Gomis is just a little bit better when it comes down to the kickboxing. I think Robert Rashula, I've watched one of his fights, maybe. I didn't know this fight was going on, but I think I've watched this one. A bit of it against Lom, and I didn't really like it. I think he took way too long to put that fucking guy out, and I think Lom just kind of gave up because he was so fucking gassed that he didn't even want to be in that octagon anymore. I think Robert Rashula is good. I think KSW is a organization. I think the fact that he's been fighting since 2019 and only has 11 fights is a little bit worrisome. William Gomis is a little bit similar territory, but he's been fighting, you know, since since 2016. What has he got? He's got like fucking 7 more fights. I don't know. He took a big break there for a bit too. Had a lot of canceled bouts. I'm just going to make up for the fact that it almost looks the exact same, and I'm going to just pick William Gomis. That's all I'm going to say. Next, to start off the main card, Patricio Pitbull versus Lozena Kieta. If you guys do enjoy this so far, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you have not already. We're going to go with Patricio Pitbull. I think Kieta's a bit fucking shit. I'm not gonna lie. We all know how Octagon is. Octagon's kind of garbage. They set up a lot of fights to give guys really, really good names to try and build up some hype. And I think this guy got given some absolute fucking horrendous competition. I think all of these guys are absolute fucking dog shit. Granted, their record looks great, but if you really look at who they're fighting, they're not fighting good people. They're really setting up these guys to look as good as they can, even though they're not that good. Lozena, I think the fact that he's moving down to 145 again, this guy's fucking with his weight so much. He was at 145 before at Champ 2 years ago. I think Patricio Pitbull is easy money here. I'm plus 165 for an underdog of a guy who used to be Bellator champ, a guy who's 38 years of age, still has all the experience, still has fucking, 25 fights on Kieta at ease, and he's going to be able to use that veteran knowledge here. He's finally inside the UFC, finally got a good win over a UFC vet in Dan Ige, and I think he's going to be able to have a very good victory against Lozena here. I think this is one of those situations where you throw a guy into the top 15 right away, and now you're getting given some big opportunities. Lozena's going to be under the lights. He's going to get a little bit pressured. And I think Patricio Pitbull is just so good at mixing it up. He's going to force Kieta to the ground. If he gets back up, if Pitbull lands something, Pitbull is one of those guys that blitzes out when he lands anything. And I think if he lands something, Kieta, he might be able to put him down. I think Kieta's a guy who absolutely leaves himself open way too much. I've seen 2 of his fights. Hands are usually not that close to his head. I think he's a little bit more of a power-hungry hunter. And I think it's going to cost him in this fight. I think Pitbull's going to be able to fucking chin him. I think people are underestimating Pitbull as a power striker here. I think Kieta's in over his head when it comes to a fucking top 15 featherweight. This guy's really a ranked featherweight, and he's trying to just get pushed into this. He should not have taken this fight, if I'm being 100% honest. I think he should have taken something a little bit easier. Granted, he is OKTAGON champ. You're fighting way easier guys than UFC caliber. Remember that. But we're going to move on next. What do we got? 20 minutes? Not bad. Main card, Axel Sola versus Reese McKee. We're going to go with Skeletor Reese McKee. Just had a fantastic win over Daniel Frunza. Had a split decision over Chidi Njokuani, which was close. Angelusa beat the fuck out of him, but that's okay. He had a little bit of starstruck moment, I feel like, there. He's been looking better and better throughout his UFC tenure. I think Axel Sola, coming from Aries FC, I don't really give a shit about Aries FC, if I'm being 100% honest. He's fighting fucking bumps. He's fighting people who aren't really that good, and he's fighting Reese McKee now, who's an absolute power-hungry striker. He looks for any way to finish the fight. He does not want this fight to go to the scorecards, and Axel Sola does not have guys who are trying to force him out. He just doesn't. He doesn't have guys that are willing to force him on the feet and force him back. And this is a situation where Reese McKee is solid. This is a situation where Reese McKee will be forcing him back himself, and he'll be challenging Axel Sola at every single situation. Reese McKee is going to eventually chin him. He's going to crack him with something huge, and he's going to drop him. Axel Sola is moving up 15 pounds. I don't give a fuck who you are. You have just been fucking getting... You just went to a decision with a guy who's at 155. You're planning on going up 15 pounds fighting a guy who doesn't like to go to the scorecards, and now you're going to just try and just walk in up 15 pounds with a guy who smacks up guys who are 200 pounds. Because they walk in at that probably. They walk in at 190 on fight day. Axel Sola's in for a fucking night. Give me Reese McKee by finish, and it's not even close. Next on the main card, Borralho Oki versus Mason Jones. We're going to go over 2.5 rounds in this fight. I think we're going distance, and I think Mason Jones absolutely abuses the fuck out of Borralho Oki on the ground. If Borralho Oki is getting submitted by Chris Duncan via guillotine, Mason Jones is going to be able to do whatever he wants to him. I think Mason Jones on the ground is one of the most significant grapplers I've ever seen inside the featherweight division. The lightweight division. Last time around fighting Jeremy Stevens, just absolutely bullied the fuck out of him on the ground. Inside Cage Warriors, consistently been bullying him on the ground. Last tenure inside the UFC was bullying guys on the ground. David Onama could not do shit. And Borralho Oki here is in a situation where he doesn't look that great. Michael Aswell, he just had a decent win over, but it's Michael Aswell. Timothy Kuumba, not that big. And now you have Mason Jones, who's just pure BJJ, just aggressiveness, just trying to throw everything at you. I think, he's going to get a little bit gassed, and I think he's in for a long night against Mason Jones. He's just going to be trying to use that grappling against the cage, trying to use those single legs and those doubles, just try and keep Oki on his ass and try and keep him guessing when it comes down to the takedowns. As long as he can keep him on his ass for the first round, Oki's going to be so gassed that he's not going to be able to throw as much as he usually does inside of his fights. Oki's one of those guys that tries to put guys out no matter what. And if you're in a situation where you're on your ass for the first round, a first-round finisher like Borralho Oki isn't exactly going to have as much power for the next 2 rounds. He most likely will not going to finish. If Mason Jones, as long as he gets that double leg, that's all he needs. Double or single, run the pike, put him down, you win. Borralho eventually will give up. You'll be able to submit him. You can get a nice submission victory to get into the UFC. He has a lot of ground and pound. He has a lot of good combinations on the feet. I'm just going to go with the fact that I'm a little bit more confident in Mason Jones on the ground. I'm a little bit more confident in the fact that I think he has a better mix-up capability than Oki. Oki's a little bit one-dimensional. Only goes for the knockouts. Doesn't have a lot of submissions. Has one guillotine against Haram Rodriguez. Yeah, guys who 22 and 42. Fuck off. That's all like. There's not a whole lot else to talk about. He should lose. Give me Mason Jones. Next on the main card, Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. We're going to go with Paul Bearju Craig. I think Modestas Bukauskas has been submitted before. His knee's fucked up. His leg is vulnerable to a knee bar. He does have half decent, striking when it really comes down to it. But I think Paul Craig, if he really wants to be inside the UFC still, I think this is the only situation that he gets. I think he really, really, really needs a win to be able to stay inside the UFC. And I think Modestas Bukauskas is one of the guys that he can get it over. If I'm being honest, I think Bukauskas realistically will probably knock him out because I think Paul Craig's a little bit too chinny for his own good at this point. But Paul Craig has submitted some of the best people in the division, some of the best people that exist now. He submitted the champion with a second to go with a tight-ass triangle. That's how fucking tight it was. The guy was about to go out. He had to tap. And Bukauskas is a guy who I haven't really seen his grappling checked. He doesn't really been thrown to the ground that much inside the UFC. Inside of his old tenure, been put out 3 times. Jimmy Crute was able to put him out. That gave me a lot of worry when it came back to his second stint inside the UFC. I watched him grow inside the UFC the last 5 fights, and I think a split decision over Ian Cutelaba is a bad fucking look. I think Paul Craig with his grappling might be able to do something against Modestas Bukauskas. I think his kickboxing is half decent enough to at least stay on the feet with Bukauskas. I'm going to go with Paul Craig. He did have a decision over Bo Nickel, too, a guy who was knocking some of these bums out. Bukauskas has probably less power than Bo Nickel, so I'm going to go with Paul Craig to win via submission or decision. I think he's just got a little bit more vet status. I think when it really comes down to it, Bukauskas is kind of just... He's good, man, but he doesn't throw as much as he should. He really is tentative, and I think if you're tentative against Paul Craig, that's a mistake. If he's not tentative, he wins. If he's tentative, he's going to fucking lose bad. Co-main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, like I have said at least 3 times in this video. I'm going to have the best bets tomorrow. Make sure you check him out. Mauricio Rufy versus Benoit Saint Denis. We're going to go with Mauricio Rufy to win via knockout or decision. If I'm being 100% honest, I wanted to pick Benoit Saint Denis to win by submission. The problem I have with Mauricio Rufy is that he's not really tested. Jamie Malarkey, Raymond Magiadaliev is good. He was winning those first 2 rounds. He almost beat Rufy. James Linetop, Bobby Green. These are not high-level guys anymore. Bobby Green's a little bit older, a little bit chinny. James Linetop shit. Jamie Malarkey's pretty decent, I'm not going to lie. But Benoit Saint Denis, he didn't look that good against Renato Moicano. He won the second round. He didn't have a problem taking down Moicano. And that gives me a problem, dude. It gives me a lot of worry that I think we're going to see Mauricio Rufy win the first round, and you're going to see Benoit Saint Denis come back the next 2. I think you're going to see Benoit Saint Denis just take matters into his own hands. I think he's going to try and go for the submission victory. I think Mauricio Rufy's got a problem on the ground, and I think Benoit Saint Denis can really take advantage of it. Honestly, I would pick this fight just not to go the distance. I think Benoit Saint Denis is really, really live here. I think if you're looking for another underdog of the week, I'd be picking Benoit Saint Denis. He's protecting his top 15 status. He is a number 13 lightweight. He can't be giving it up to a guy like Mauricio Rufy. And if he's fighting like the way he was fighting his last couple fights, man, Mauricio Rufy might have a problem in the second round. If he gets taken down, I don't know what happens. I don't know if he gets back up, and I don't know if Benoit Saint Denis doesn't submit him. I'm a little bit worried with the fact that Benoit Saint Denis didn't look that good against Dustin Poirier, but again, he had staph. He was probably on antibiotics. He was already a little bit gassed from fucking all the meds, and you get shit easy on that shit. So I really don't know. Renato Moicano also bushed the shit out of him in that first round. But that dude had no eye, couldn't see inside the whole second round, and still won the round against Renato Moicano. Those are fucking green flags for me for Benoit Saint Denis. I'm going to lean Mauricio Rufy by knockout, but do not be surprised if Benoit Saint Denis can pull it off by finish. Again, I would not be surprised. I would lean not to go distance if you're on the betting side. The main event of the evening, if you guys enjoy this, you're welcome. I'm just kidding. Like and subscribe. That's what I was going to say. It's just cringe. Too many times. Nasruddin Imavov versus Caio Borralho. We're going to go with... Listen, I'm just going to go with my heart. I think I've been wrong too many times. And I think realistically, I think this is one of the times where I feel like I'm wrong. But I think I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go with Nasruddin Imavov to win over Caio Borralho. I think Caio Borralho is getting rushed a little bit too quick. I think he went from fucking Jared Cannonier to Nasruddin Imavov awfully quick. I think the fact that Jared Cannonier got chinned by Nasruddin Imavov. Granted, Caio Borralho beat the fuck out of Jared Cannonier. Ah, fuck. Do I really do this? And he's in France, dude. Like, it's just like, it just feels rigged. Like, this fight's probably going... I'm going to go say over 4.5 rounds is my official pick. I'm going to say Nasruddin Imavov is going to win based on two factors. One, he's at home. He's in France. There's going to be a lot of ways for him to win there. And the fact that he's going to have the crowd. Looked really good against Izzy. Looked pretty good against Brendan Allen. Was able to mix it up well. Looked really good against Jared Cannonier. Put him out in the fourth. Caio Borralho almost put him out too, but Imavov did. He made it look so bad that the ref had to stop it. Caio Borralho made it look pretty fucking bad, but it was a 10-8 instead. I think Caio Borralho is good. I think the fighting nerves are fantastic. I think that Nasruddin Imavov is just kind of in a good situation here to fight for the championship next, and I think that the UFC knows that. And I think a lot of these fights sometimes go the way of fighters that they think would move the promotion better. And I think Nasruddin Imavov is that guy, especially in France. I think this kind of goes his way. I think Caio Borralho is good. I think the stand-up on his side is solid. I think the fact that he needs glasses to see 10 feet in front of him is a fucking problem. I think when you're in the octagon and Imavov's throwing high kicks, when he's masking him with some jabs, that might be a problem. You might get cracked with a couple of them. I'm going to go with the fact that Nasruddin Imavov looked so good in his last 4 fights. And out of the last 4, he's finished 2 of them. 2 of them being high-level contenders and previous title contenders or title holders. I'm going to go with Nasruddin Imavov to win via knockout or decision over a Caio Borralho, who I think is good. He should be in this position, but I don't think he's ready for it, and I don't think that this is the right fight for him. I think the matchup is rough. I think that the pressure of Imavov is nonstop. I think Caio Borralho's pressure is also nonstop, but I think Imavov is a little bit faster. I think he throws faster. I think he has a little bit better striking, and I think his high kicks and his leg game is going to be proper. I think it's going to help him a lot, and I think Caio Borralho is going to have a lot of issues with that. And I think it's going to cause him to wilt and crumble under the pressure. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you have not already. This was the predictions and breakdowns. Again, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the best bets, or I might do them tonight. I'm not sure. And I will also see you guys on Saturday for the live starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch and YouTube. I will see you guys all later. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.